Welcome, Oceansiders. Today we are exploring the Pilgrims Rest Cemetery. So here at the Pilgrims Rest Cemetery, this is where the Pilgrims Rest Baptist Church also stood in 1908 when it was moved to this location. The church has since moved from this location and was donated in 1988 to Ormond Beach, and we'll get to that in a moment, as we're going to go to that location as well to show you the church and where it's located now. But this is Pilgrims Rest Church that's been at this location since 1908. Now, for Pilgrims Rest and the Pilgrims Rest Church, it did exist somewhere around the Tomoka River or State Park area, around that settlement out that way. They moved to this location, the church itself, by mules carrying the weight of this structure all the way here to since where it has been moved now at its current location, which we will get to later in the video. But it's very interesting. There's a lot of people here from way back when, all the way back to the 1800s, that died a little after the 1900s, and then there's some current ones of people that have just now been laid to rest here and currently waiting for their stones to be put up. So currently, I believe they saw a news station channel thing where they said they have about 8 plots left here, but this all started back in 1908, where the first burial was for baby Kansas, which lies to rest right here. I was trying to find this plot, guys, and it took me a while, and I looked down there and I said, well, what is that standing up there? And sure enough, it says baby Kansas with a tree of life, it looks like there. So baby Kansas was the first one to be buried at this cemetery in 1908. She lived and died and was only 4 years old. So from 1904 to 1908, and was the first to be buried here. God bless you, baby Kansas. That's terrible for a young kid to live and die at such a young age. But I did notice that her last name was the same as last name as some folks that are buried on this side. I don't know if that was part of her family or not, but they had the same last name, which I found kind of interesting. But yeah, there's a lot of veterans, as you can see. There's a lot of American flags here. It's where a lot of people that passed away that were actual veterans did serve for our country. So yeah. But if we continue on over to this side, I'm going to show you there's a lot of older grave sites that are on this side of the cemetery over here. So as I said before, with little Kansas, the little baby that died that was only 4 years old, here is elder Z.H. Bennett, that was born 1832, died in 1922. Carries the same name, Bennett, as little baby Kansas. And there's also Cynthia Bennett right here, 1848 to 1924. So it seems like they would be in the same area. I just found that kind of interesting. Usually they put everybody in the same area, the same plot, as far as the family is concerned. And then they also have these little markers here that signifies the plot where they're buried at. And there's Harriet Campbell, and the father is another Henry Campbell. And then I found it interesting as well, is that in memory of Henry F. Campbell, died 1835, 1913. But if you notice, there's a lot of, the hand wrote this in what am I trying to say? In cursive. Is what it looks like, or a different kind of script. It says, no pain, no grief, no anxious tear can reach out at loved ones sleeping here. He lived as he died, and loving husband, and affectionate father, a true friend without an enemy. May his soul rest in peace. Wow, that is super cool. How they actually did that back in the day and carved all of that into the stone. Wow. It's pretty amazing. And here's Campbell's as well. There's a mother, there's a father, and a daughter. 1907 to 1956, 1970, or I'm sorry, what does that say? 1870 to 1924, and then 1872 to 1944. So all of the older graves seem to be on this side of the cemetery, which is like the east side. Like here's a Florence D. Pittman, 1872 to 1946. Wow. But walking through here, as most cemeteries, is very eerie, yet somewhat calming. But I read up on why these bricks are placed on top of the cemetery plots like this. And what I've read is that it's usually from the elements, weather elements, or bricks are a symbol, and also the Jewish religion, I found out, that it is a symbol of people that have actually visited the grave sites of the people that have passed on. It's just a representation of that. I found that pretty cool. But as we look further down, you can see a lot of the flags here. We have like a Confederate, an American flag, some more American flags that are still here. But look at some of these gravestones, guys. This is crazy. Born in 1917, died 1923. But this one I found the most strange is in loving of infant girl Cottrell, 1922 to 1922, newborn daughter of Daniel and Mary Cottrell. Only lived possibly a few hours, maybe one day. I don't know. And here we have William Edward Bear, 1883 to 1924. 1892 to 1985 for Lily Wynn. Guy M. Stevenson, 1900 to 1932. But this is, to me, is amazing to learn, you know, about this area. You know, what happened in, you know, in historical times. That this, you know, was, I mean, think about this. There's nothing, there would have been nothing around here but a church and this cemetery sitting here back in 1908. No roads, none of these businesses are around here. I mean, that's just fascinating to me. What did they do back then? How did they do things differently back then? And I kept hearing bells around here. And I think I finally found the source. If you look up here, there's actually a wind chime hanging up there. little bit of soothing sounds of the chimes there. Here's one with just a simple cross. It's from 1944 to 2012 for Maria Aldwin Rodriguez. Wow. So all the way back here in the corner. So now we do have a square area here where there's a corner, there's another corner over there, another corner over there, and another corner over there. So legend has it, or there's a story where an African-American gentleman was accused of a crime here. Now they don't say which corner of the cemetery. Before, this has actually happened before the cemetery was established in 1908 at this location. From one of the trees around that time, they did not date it when it happened, but around that time they hung the African American from a tree for the crimes that they say he committed. Now later on they found out that this gentleman was not part of the crime. He did not commit the crime. He was falsely accused and hung. That is awful. That's freaking terrible. But they say that you can, whichever corner it is of the cemetery, that you will see sometimes at night a mist or a ghostly figure. But they did actually capture a picture of this, an entity of this, of a gentleman hanging from a tree. Here's that shot right here. So, as I did mention before about the brick mounds here that are on top of the graves, there is a Fred Hall. There's Bertha. Fred Hall was 1887 to 1935, passed away. Bertha, 1892 to 1942. And then we also have James Hall. I can't read the dates for that one, but it does look like, I can't read the rest of that. And then there's also Sarah Elizabeth Smith Hall, 1842 to 1921. But the whole family is pretty prominent here. They do have a seafood store. You know, you go in and buy fresh seafood. So I'm not sure if this is part of the whole family, but I'm almost thinking it is. But guys, that is Pilgrims Rest and the history behind it. So where we're going to go next, we're going to go check out the Pilgrims Rest Baptist Church, which is located back east this way by the bridge, Granada Bridge, which is leads to Beach Street. And right off Beach Street is where the Baptist Church is located. That's our next stop. And if you ever want to come and visit the Pilgrims Rest Cemetery, cemetery hours are from dawn until dusk only. And welcome guys to our second location, Halifax River. Well, actually the church is now located next to the Halifax River. As you can see right now, it's almost Christmas time. They have Christmas trees that they do light up right there in the Halifax River. On both sides of the river over here, they kind of have them down, and then over on the other side as well, coming over the river. But as you can see, right there is the Halifax River Bridge, coming over from the mainland, from the peninsula to the mainland, where we're at now. We live over on the peninsula side, headed towards Ormond by the Sea, which is further that way. But here is, we're coming from the back end, actually, of the church, of where this will be the the backside of the church area here. But it's really cool. They do have a pier that is closed for today, and then other places you can actually walk around and under the bridge and back over the bridge, back and forth. But right here is the church, the Pilgrims Rest. So as you walk up here, you notice that this is actually painted white. Now, back in the day, this was a structure that was actually painted all brown. So since it's moved here, they have changed the paint scheme of this place. So if you notice here, there's a little hallway here, and a doorway, and another doorway there. And then as you come down, here is the side of the building and all of the landscaping that surrounds here to this park. And then you also have, there's the steeple up there. And then they have this beautifully landscaped through here. And as you come around, they have a walkway here. It goes back to the parking lot, back to where the parking lot is. But then they also have this lovely fountain that runs out here daily. So you can come down here, sit down, read a book, relax, and then also turn and look at the beautiful church of Pilgrims Rest. This is a really nice area, guys. Really beautiful place to come. If you ever want to come, over the bridge, you can just stop in here. They got nice areas to walk around and everything. It's really a really nice area, as I said. Now, if you notice, the walkway is also in shells, which is kind of the coquina type walkway where it's crushed shells material that they've used to make the walkway here up to the steps going up to the church. So if you notice here, the Pilgrims Rest Primitive Baptist Church is the oldest building in Ormond Beach. The church was organized around 1877, as I stated before, was in a Tomoka settlement. It was moved here into Ormond by the Beach Pilgrims Rest Cemetery around 1908, which is close to the location we were, where they widened out SR 40, which was the busy road that you guys heard next to me there. And then in 1988, Bertie Miller donated the church to the city, and it was moved to the current site as we see here, which is all beautifully landscaped. Now, if you notice, they do have this dressed up for Christmas. That's a nice touch, I think. With green garland and the bells. Bells are up there. So we can actually look inside here. I think they're closed at the moment, but I don't know if you can see in there or not. Maybe if the door is unlocked. No, it's locked. Anyways, might just be able to see the reflection. See if you can see in there or not. That's inside the church right there, guys. I can see in there now. The main hall going in. But I do have some interesting documentation too that I'm going to include at the end of the video here. That does show kind of the, back in the 1940s, I actually documented, the church, the people, how many people are the construction of the church, how the pews were actually screwed to the floor, and how the flooring was, and all of that is actually documented by the city. So this is an awesome place to come relax. and just check out the Pilgrims Church here. It's an amazing history, guys, here for Ormond Beach. For this to last this long and keep it restored. They also have like books you can take, or take one, read one, and then put it right back in the box here. It's kind of a neat idea. But I did find these around town. These have been kind of scaring me. As I walked up, I was like, is this real? Or is this fake? And I was like, why is that lady just standing there? Well, it turns out this is fake. It's a sculpture that's been painted, and they have like, she's got wine and bread. Oh, there's a bee right there on the bread. Maybe he thinks it's real. I don't know. And a blanket. Looks like she's ready to go to the beach. Oh, wine, food, and the Seward Johnson. Anyways, I just came up here. I thought that was super creepy because I didn't even know if that was real or not. But anyways, and then they have an American flag right up here on the flagpole. But this is a really nice park. And there's Granada up that way. And then if you go up this way, there's the bridge going back over to where the ocean is that way. But I'm going to end it here and put some of that paperwork from the 40s that goes over some of the details about this church. But there was one story that they had where they only had documentation for this place from 1915 onward. Anything before 1915 back to when it was established in 1877. The documentation was kept at one of the people that was in control of keeping up with the documentation of the church was in a trunk, and they lived by the Tomoka River, which ended up flooding out their property and destroyed all those, destroyed the paperwork from 1877 all the way up to 1915. So, but yeah, so that is it. That's an interesting story, I think. There's the right side of the church. But thank you guys for joining me. Comment, subscribe, like. Let me know what you think about this church and the story of this church and the cemetery as well. About the gentleman that was hung there before they were even settled there. So, anyways, thanks guys. Love you. Have a great day.